Now, one of the men emerging as one of the favourites to replace Gareth Southgate as England manager is Lee Carsley. He's currently in charge of England's under-21s. But back in 2014, Mark Warburton brought him to Brentford as a development squad manager. And delighted to say Mark Warburton joins us now. Hi, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. What did you make of England's run then at the Euros? And I guess Southgate's departure, was it inevitable regardless of the outcome?
Good morning, Hayden. No, I think obviously he's reached another Euro final. So that's it. It doesn't say how you get there. He's got to another Euro final, following on from Wembley a couple of years ago, etc. So he's ticking all the right boxes. But I think Gareth knew that a victory was what the country craved. Well, he obviously craved in the players. So I think he's made a brave decision. He's made a decision which is right for him, for the family, and of course for the team and the country. So enormous respect for Gareth, what he's achieved with the country, where he's taken the team. And he feels it's the right time now, Haley, to move on. So it's a new era starting.
I think very, very well put there. We're now talking about moving forward, aren't we? Lee Carsley, obviously a similar path as well to Gareth Southgate. We'll get into that and the advantages and some of the disadvantages. But what was it that you saw in him with you wanting to work with him and bringing him into Brentford back in 2014?
Well, firstly, obviously, my valued friend, David Weir, who played and worked with Lee, so I knew him very well. David's judgment is so sound, and he spoke so highly of Lee, Haley. So there's a first real positive. And then very quickly, you notice with Lee, his enthusiasm, his very dry sense of humour, his work ethic. You know, he was in the office with David and I every morning early, had the coffee, talking about the day, what we were doing, why we were doing it, what he would replicate with his boys, etc. And as a manager, myself and David heard, you know, we could hear the feedback from his young players, my own son included, who spoke so highly about how he treated them, the consistency of his approach, the fairness, the honesty, all the type of words and attributes as a young player, any player, you want to hear about your coach. So really enjoyed working with him. You could see he had a real passion for the game, quiet, studious, but don't ever underestimate that dry sense of humour. And I'm sure the players will be very respectful. Whichever team he manages, take to 21s, whatever happens with Lee, he'll always gain the respect of his playing squad. Yeah,
respected by his players, but someone who hasn't really sought the limelight. He may be an excellent coach, but do you think the England job, I mean, actually would be something he'd want to do?
Well, the thing is, Haley, obviously he's turned down the Republic of Ireland, I believe, recently. I think would he be surprised by the media scrutiny, the intensity that Gareth and you know people in that position have to deal with? Perhaps, but he's been in the FA now for a while. He knows the script. He knows how it works. He knows the demands. So I think Lee will step up. Simple as that. He always has done. He's never sought or craved the limelight, but he also appreciates the responsibilities that come with a certain position. So there's not many bigger than England manager, that's for sure. So should it be Lee, I have no doubt that he has the capabilities and the attributes, Harry, to step up effortlessly.
There's been a lot made about the development side and the FA, of course, creating pathways. So you'd have to say maybe this appointment would make sense. Do you think that is how they're going to be looking at it?
Yeah, I'm sure. I've read some reports that, you know, fans and people alike would be surprised at an appointment of someone like Lee. But should that be the case, Haley, I think for me, the FA know him. He's proven himself. He's proven to be a winner, winning the 21 championships, which is no mean feat. He knows the young players coming through. He knows how they respond and what work they need, etc. He's a very knowledgeable and experienced coach now. And as I say, being a very high quality player himself, he knows the demands faced by these players, and both domestically and internationally. So I think there's a number of boxes ticked by Lee Carsley, undoubtedly. So, you know, forget everything else about just a pathway. He's a very strong candidate. And I think Lee, as should it be the case, would step up and show his qualities undoubtedly.
I mean, obviously, him working with the under-21s, knows them very well, seen them come through, has worked with the current crop that have stepped up to the first team, dealing with those that are about to make that step up. How much do you think that would benefit him?
I think it benefit enormously, Haley. I think that, as I say, he knows the FA, he knows the demands. He's taken that under-21 squad, has gone to win in Europe, which is vitally important. He understands what the players need. Don't forget, I have a lot of friends, you know, all football fans who talk about why doesn't the manager do this? Why not does he do that? The fact is, you have players arriving from club commitments, European weekly club commitments, and players are tired and drained and have to be treated accordingly. And Lee has that deep knowledge. He understands what they need, why they need it, when they need it. And I think that experience he'll have learned from Gareth and Steve and Paul Nevin, etc. Did a magnificent job over the last few years. And he'll be keen also to put his own fingerprint, I'm sure, as any manager or coach would want to do. So I think you have a really strong candidate with an excellent set of attributes, knows the game so well, knows the players so well. And I think also Haley appreciates the demands and expectations that come with such a position.
It's very different roles, isn't it? Managing a club and internationally, but he's used to working in international breaks. Would someone who is used to club management perhaps struggle to adjust more, not have that real understanding of exactly what it's going to be like?
Yeah, I've had the privilege of speaking to a number of international managers at different age groups, Haley, and they always speak about that day-to-day contact and what they miss. And you have to be very astute as international manager, I'm sure, of all age groups. And Lee has that experience, which is vital. I'm sure he'll have good communication with the various clubs and going and meeting the managers and the coaches and the Premier League clubs and overseas players. He has that experience. He has the communication. He has the connections, and I think he will use it very wisely. So yes, it is difficult, very difficult for a guy who's been in the club football for a long period of time. But Lee has that experience now. He's very used to it. And most importantly, the FA know that he has that experience. And undoubtedly, they will have been impressed by the job that he's been doing over the last couple of years.
And Mark, what do you make of the possibility of having a foreign manager taking England to the next World Cup? Do you think it'll come to that?
I think, just my perception, Haley. I think my assumption would be that the FA would like to keep it British. That would be my assumption. No disrespect in any shape or form to any foreign managers, but I think that would be high on the agenda if the right man's available. And that's the case. If Lee is that chosen man, all well and good, he's in the system, etc. Other British managers may come with high compensation, which has to be taken into account. Others may come with no experience at international level, again, take into account. And you have some very strong overseas candidates, the likes of Jurgen, of course, Maurizio, Thomas Tuchel, all these people. And mentioned this morning, there's many strong overseas candidates. But the fact is, I believe the FA would like to keep it British, just my own perception.